Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Ten and 1 feels fucking good. Okay, 10-1 feels amazing. The Eagles win 40-33, and they dominated on the ground. That offensive line helped create so many holes for Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts. I don't think the score really tells the full story, and I know that there was some crazy nonsense that occurred in that first quarter, in that first half. In the first quarter, Jalen Hurts had 103 rushing yards. That doesn't make any sense at all. Some crucial third down runs, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 6. He's picking up 20 plus. He had that 40 plus run as well. That was on 3rd and 2. It was a 41-yard gain. He was outrageous. He made some awesome throws too, by the way. Quez Watkins with the touchdown. A.J. Brown with the touchdown. More on A.J. Brown in just a moment, but he was a part of why it was so bizarre. He's fumbling the football, and I know that he had the sickness. He had the flu. He didn't feel 100%, but it's 3 straight weeks. You go back to Washington, where he only had 1 reception. You go back to last week, where he had the fumble, and then this one, it wasn't really it wasn't really like it was just stripped out of him very intensely. I think that I'm still trying to figure it out, honestly. I don't know what to think. I don't know exactly A.J. Brown yet. And call me crazy, but there is a part of me that wonders why. Why would Tennessee let an A.J. Brown go? Why would Tennessee see his skill set and feel, you know what, maybe there's something missing? Now, I'm not telling you that he stinks, okay? He's clearly an amazing player, but is there a part of his game that is missing, that is keeping him away from getting the big ticket in Tennessee? Why? What? That's all I'm saying. Why? He did recover big time, though, with the huge touchdown after the drop on 2nd and 6. But after the 2nd and 6, he had the big conversion on 3rd and 6 to help them move the chains. It's just a question that I have, and this is my first year experiencing the A.J. Brown experience, so I will know more as we continue to watch him play. But it's definitely more on my radar now. Maybe by the end of it, we laugh and say, remember that 1 3-week span? Or remember that 1 month the first time A.J. Brown was here in an Eagles uniform? Yeah, I think I'm probably stressing it a little too much early on here, considering I thought the Eagles absolutely dominated because of the way that they put the ball on the ground there and ran and made some explosive plays. Combined, the quarterback and the running back had 300 yards. Imagine running for 143, and you look at the box score afterwards, and your quarterback had more. But that's what Jalen Hurts can do. Once again, he proves why he should be at the top of the MVP list, and he should have majority of the votes because he is ridiculous. His throws were on point. I even thought there was the one scramble where he hit Quez Watkins there in the end zone. It was a tough play to make. I think Quez has rebounded beautifully from the debacle that was the fumble pretty recently. He's come up large with a couple of touchdowns, but it's just a throw that might not get as noticed because the play wasn't made. But that was after Green Bay faked an injury. We booed them rightfully. It's funny, right? All these idiots out there on social media want to take shots at Philadelphia sports fans for booing the Green Bay Packers when they're down. They're faking it. They're not actually injured. When Alexander leaves and then comes back on the very next play after he's flipping all the fans off, we know what they're doing. They're tired because the Eagles are mollywopping them because they're running so many plays. They're utilizing the time of possession. We saw this on the opposite end not too long ago. Fletcher Cox playing 70 snaps. They were beat down. They were very fatigued. Well, Green Bay elected to go down and pretend they were hurt when they were not hurt, but it ended up resulting in the Eagles still generating a ton of success, and that's really all that matters. There is some weirdness going on with the special team still. Way too many returns that end up biting you in the ass. I don't know what Michael Clay does. If I'm Jeffrey Lurie, I want to know every single second of every single day what Michael Clay does, because there's no way that you should be getting torched in that department. It's a disgrace. And at times, it's really killing you. Green Bay got some advantages. But I'm so proud of the way this team really battled. You got Shane Steichen and the offense realizing that there is something that they can take control of. Lean on your offensive line. Jason Kelsey, how many blocks was he outrageous with? Lane Johnson at times. And I got nervous when he got blocked super low and took out his knees. Here's a huge man basically doing a front flip, and he's rolling over. I'm like, yo, dude, what the hell are you doing? But luckily, he's all right. They showed their will. And Jeff Stoutland over on the sidelines with a big smile on his face, as he should. It was just amazing. That's why you look at this going, oh, well, they scored that touchdown, and Marcus Epps and Blankenship. By the way, I thought Blankenship did awesome. He had a tough angle on the Watson touchdown. But at the end of the day, I don't really think it was as close as the scores showed. Even though Green Bay came back, we could talk about that first quarter, and we could talk about that first half. I don't know if we'll ever see anything like it. The Eagles get stopped on the 4th and short where they try and sneak it. Maybe Nick Sirianni could have challenged the 3rd down spot. It was a weird snap. The ball came loose on the 4th down. I'll take my chances every single day of the week with this quarterback and a quarterback sneak. It didn't end up working out. I thought it technically did, but with air quotes here, it didn't work out, even though I think it did. Whatever. You had that happen in the first. You're up 13-0. Josiah Scott gets an interception off Darius Slay's face. That was after, I believe, Hargrave couldn't sack Aaron Rodgers. He somehow escapes. He rolls to his right. He then tries to make the throw. So it's like, oh, my God, you almost had a chance to sack him. You miss it. That results in a turnover. Josiah Scott, of all people, Blankenship with the awesome read. And he's running down the field or up the field, however you want to label it. He's reading the quarterback, and he makes a great explosive play to close out on the receiver and just catch it himself. A.J. Brown fumbles, allows Green Bay to get back into it. They miss the extra point. It's 20-20, so it's a tied game. This is after the Eagles already missed an extra point when it was 13-0. It was just nuts. C.J. Gardner-Johnson gets hurt on 4th and 5. And they did this all, too, without Dallas Goedert, who's a sensational blocker and a huge part to the offense in the passing game, too. But to be able to look this strong, last week it was, can this offense score points? They just put up 40. They just controlled the entire game on the ground. Yeah, they can score. 1 week it's going to look one way. Because I'm already hearing, and trust me, I'm not the big Jonathan Gannon lover. And I watched him put Marcus Epps and Blankenship in a tough position. I watched when Jordan Love came into the game, him think to himself, I'm not going to put pressure on the young quarterback. I'm going to sit back like a little bitch. I've seen him do that. But at the same time, last week, he was fantastic. And that defense was absurd while the offense struggled a bit. It's a week-to-week league. What I do know is, any given week, this team has the power to be awesome. And if one side of the ball hits their peak and the other side seems to struggle a bit, they still find a way, even with a disgusting special teams. Now, Jake Elliott was so large with that 54-yarder to make it a 10-point game. Would I have went for it? I can live with either or. You tell me you put Jake Elliott in the spot to kick the field goal, make it a 10-point lead, and from there you play the clock game? I got no issues with that. You better drill it, because if you don't, things get a little tough. And we've seen the Packers with decent field to start off a drive result in something big and get some points on the board. So you better drill it. But if you do drill it, I got no issue with it. It just comes down to execution at that point. So from Nick Sirianni's perspective, with a couple of decisions, I could live with all of really what he did, unless I'm missing one off the top of my head that was obvious. Maybe challenging the call. But maybe that's more of someone speaking to him in a headset on that 3rd down when they went to the back-to-back QB sneaks that didn't end up being successful. You keep winning ball games, and I'm not going to be complaining. I'll touch on some things that I have questions on. But you're 10-1. Oh, you can't do this against 10. Shut up. Shut up. Each week they find a way. Each week is different. This is what I think the issue is with some individuals out there. Maybe some of them are Eagles fans that are afraid to open up their heart because if they get heartbroken, they cry and they can't handle the pain. Or if it's from somebody on the outside looking in that don't want to give the Eagles their proper credit. When dissecting an NFL team that is playing extremely well and that have a good record, you're not supposed to watch them with the eyes of perfection only, because then you'll drive yourself crazy. The Eagles are not a perfect team. They're an amazing, great team. They're not a perfect team. If you watch them with the idea of everything needs to be perfect, well, then, of course, you're going to say that they're not X, Y, and Z. Whatever you have your bar set at, or however you analyze a team and you start looking, of course you're going to start saying that they're not great because you have some weird view that great team means flawless team. That's not the case. That's not the case at all. All these teams that compete when the playoffs begin, and all these teams that are in the NFC Championship game, they got issues. And I find it comical, too, because now all of a sudden the 49ers are the hot team. You better watch out for the Niners. Kyle Shanahan is very, very creative. He's very unique with how he's able to operate his offense and just how his team plays, right? Now, why do people feel that way about that team? Oh, they're getting healthier. Hold on a second. So how come we view the Eagles without Avonte Maddox, which I know Scott got the interception, but it's a big difference with Avonte Maddox on the field compared to when he's not, with Dallas Goedert, with now CJ Gardner-Johnson. You can't look at one team and say, well, when they're whoa. Well, you're now judging the Eagles over the last couple of weeks without one of the best tight ends in all of football. Later on down the road, when Jordan Davis gets back, one of the biggest human beings on planet Earth, a guy's injury who led to Howie Roseman have to go pick up two guys who were sitting on the streets in Sue and Joseph. That all plays into the equation too. You can't grade the 49ers on a certain scale, but then when watching the Eagles, they get a completely different scale. You feel better about the Niners because they're healthier. Well, I hate to break it to you, the Eagles at some point are going to get healthier, even though injuries are a part of the game. Both can be true. Both can be true. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at some of the things. Oh, I actually wrote down here in my notes, Jordan 11 Concords. Oh, my Lord. We have the swaggiest QB in all the land. I mean, this guy's ridiculous. From what he wears in the beginning of the game when he's walking through the tunnel and he's getting photos when he's walking through the link between him and Devontae Smith. And then he goes out on the field in the all-black unis, which, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big uniform guy. Nothing really tickles my fancy to that level where I'm on a different high because of the jerseys. The green helmet and the black helmet, because the green is a darker shade of green, the black helmet didn't hit me any different than the black uniforms that they wore in previous seasons. So maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm the one that didn't get impacted as big as others did for it. But the all-black didn't really feel much different with the black helmet to the green. But wearing the Concords, all right, wearing the Jordan 11s, with those, A+. Chef's kiss. What else is a chef's kiss? Is through the first 5-6 minutes of the game when the Eagles get up 13-0. The link, hype on 1,000 on national television is probably one of the most beautiful things you could see. There's nothing better in my eyes than seeing the link go absolutely nuts, lose its damn mind, filled with electric energy. And you're on Sunday Night Football when all the eyes are on you and that place is going loud. I love when they go to the fans and they got the asshole. You're damn right you're an asshole because you're not actually injured, you clown. We know. Other fan bases might say, oh, okay, I hope you're okay, Alexander. You're not hurt. You're not hurt. You're getting your ass kicked. That's the difference. You're getting beat down. You're tired. Hate to break it to you, that's what happens when we run the football down your throat. And I don't want the run game to somehow take away from what Jalen Hurts did with his arms too, or with his arm. Because my man can throw the football. And each week, he's putting it on display on how awesome it is. That A.J. Brown touchdown pass, it's where it needed to be for his wide receiver to make the play compared to where the Green Bay Packers were. Quez Watkins, he needs to make the play. There's coverage on him. Where can you put the ball for Quez to get it? And I got to give a big round of applause to Quez because, look, he's got a limited role. And when he fumbled recently, I'm like, dude, you don't get many chances, all right? So you can't let that slip. You can't let that get away. You got to make the most of every pass that goes in your hands. No fumbling. Getting a couple touchdowns is a big-time response from a young kid in Quez who's still trying to figure out who he is at the NFL level. And I give a lot of credit to Jalen Hurts for instilling confidence in him. Like, yo, dude, I got you. I got you. I'm going right back. Be ready. Be prepared. You're going to get looks, and we need you. And that's why we need A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown, being the A.J. Brown that was in the beginning of the season, makes this team a significant difference from who he has been over the last 3 games. And all I'm saying is, I'm watching a little bit harder. And I remember when they took their first L, his reaction standing in front of his locker, not that that's the biggest L in the world, but I was like, that's a little weird. Not my personal preference. Doesn't mean I want my guys to soak in it and be pissed off forever when they lose. Because I'll just keep it 100. Watching Jason Kelce on his podcast with his brother cry and break down basically, and not fully on cry, but needs a break because he was so upset about himself for having a bad snap, but they had to pause the recording of the podcast and restart the next day. That's taking it to the extreme of caring too much. So, it was like A.J. Brown didn't care enough about the loss, even though you're going to lose football games in this league. But I want you to kind of acknowledge the upsettingness a little bit more. While Jason Kelce's almost to like the way opposite, where it's like, dude, you had a high snap in a football game. Relax. It's okay. I'm glad that it bothers you, but I don't want it taking over your life. There's a middle ground here. I don't know if A.J. Brown is as bothered by mistakes and little details of the game, and I don't think holding on to the football is a little detail in a game for a wide receiver by any means. I'm just watching him. We don't get to watch the day-by-day of every single player when they're on the other team. Now we do. I think he's a sensational talent. I just wonder. So, super proud of this team, though, man. I just think they just find ways. Each week is different. One week the defense shines, the next week the offense shines, and I know you want to put it together and have both sides of the ball with this team just soaring with these. But that's not how this game goes. You got the Ravens. The Ravens are a damn good football team. They're blowing leads left and right in a couple of their losses. The Jags, Trevor Lawrence, Doug Peterson goes for 2, gets the big play, has the huge drive. This stuff happens. And the fact that each week is so different, you're still able to plug away and rack these W's without losing. Good teams lose. Let's look through what happened today. Well, I don't really think Tom Brady and the Buccaneers are a good team, but they fell in overtime to the Cleveland Browns. The Titans lost to the Bengals. That was a 20-16 game. Stuff like this happens, man. The Broncos. Oh, they're funny as hell. They're funny as hell. Maybe not as crazy this week, but a little bit more chalk this week, except for that Ravens one, I think, was a little crazy. What else was there? Thursday Night Football. was on Thanksgiving. The Bills against the Lions, 28-25. Do we think of the Bills any less? They're 8-3. They snuck away with one in Detroit on Thanksgiving Day. The fact that you could win, man, and the fact that Jalen Hurts is carrying you to do it, that's one big thing. We'll get to some Anytime Hotline calls here in just 1 second. But when we analyze this team each week, right, the most important is your quarterback play. I believe in this kid so damn much. Your quarterback can make up for a lot of deficiencies in a team. Your quarterback can lead you. Your quarterback and the way that he does it with his calmness, it changes the game. That's why in 2017, I looked at that squad as a team that can go do something special because they had Carson Wentz. When we talk about Tom Brady over the years, why do the Patriots, why does Tampa Bay? Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers. I'm just talking about the last 10 years or so when you watched the team play. Why did you feel the Rams weren't going to have as much success when they got to the Super Bowl? Jared Goff. Why do you feel with the 49ers there's something holding them back? Jimmy Garoppolo. These are just examples on why teams feel like maybe there's something missing and why you feel like they can actually do something. Throughout this journey, throughout these games, throughout the rest of the season, we're going to discuss what happened. But 99.9% of the time, we're talking about the quarterback making plays. And if you have that happening at this level, at this rate, we could bitch and debate all sorts of things, but you have the most important and the hardest to acquire in Jalen Hurts. And by the way, your offensive line's fucking awesome. All right, we'll take some Anytime Hotline calls. Here we go. Let's hear from the people.
I mean, I don't really know how to feel about this game. It really felt like it shouldn't have been as close as a 7-point game. It felt more like a 2 or 3 touchdown win, which realistically it should have been. I mean, if AJ doesn't fumble or if Hurts doesn't fumble the snap in the first half, we would have scored probably on those drives, at least one of them, and the Packers wouldn't have scored. So that was probably a 10-point swing there. How about Blankenship, though? Backup safety. He looks great.
Yeah, and you know what? There were a lot of guys, a lot of people who cover the team and beat reporters throughout the offseason talking about what Blankenship can do, and he definitely raised some eyebrows. So I'm not surprised that he went out there and balled and did his thing. Now, I didn't think it would look that clean, and I say clean, but he definitely allowed that one touchdown with the bad angle between him and Epps. But ultimately, he made a lot of plays, and he was tough out there, and he was hard-nosed, and he made sure the coaches go back to the tape and go, hey, there's something in Blankenship right now. And, I don't know where CJ Gardner-Johnson is going to be, so his health status is something we'll be looking for with Nick Sirianni over the next couple of days when he speaks, and I'm sure he'll just give us a bunch of gibberish, and we'll find out eventually. But, Blankenship was great. Here's the thing, too, okay, because week 1, even though they won, I was looking at Jonathan Gannon with that defense against the Lions, wondering what the hell. We're 11 games in now. If this was game 1 of the season, I think my reaction would be a bit different. There would be some similar takeaways, but because there's a lot more unknowns, I think the breakdown's different. There's a lot of knowns right now. A lot of knowns that we have learned throughout all these weeks of the regular season. So if this same game plays out after week 1 and the Eagles are 1-0 and this is what you saw, I think you wonder differently. But at that point, you would have Goddard because he would be healthy. You'd have Avonte Matt. So much would change. But if you react this way, because it's frustrating and it's hard because with Gannon, I'm about to say, we kind of know who Gannon is. At the same time, I don't know which Gannon we're going to get each week. But I do know that there's a lot of special players on this team. I saw Fletch. I saw guys, Hassan Reddick. I know that there's talent on this team, that their defense takes the ball away. They create turnovers. I might not like a lot from Jonathan Gannon, and I expect soft coverage at times. But at the same point, I'm watching Darius Slade create an interception. You lose one of your best ball hawks who leads the NFL in interceptions, so there are going to be differences moving forward here depending on how long he's out. But I know the defense takes the ball away. And I know at times they can have dominant games where other teams feel suffocated. Like, I just know more about them. So at this point, you keep winning games. Well, it may look different each week. To a degree, that's a good thing. It means you can win in multiple different ways. It would be scary if you could only do it one way. If it needs to be the run game, take control of the poor Green Bay defense. They can't run, stop. So run. You can do it that way. Pick and choose, Hurts or Sanders, Gainwell or Scott. If you need to use A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez, we've watched them win you football games. If it needs to be the defense, we've watched them put the offense in positions to succeed. We've seen it all. It's a sign of a great team. Yeah, we literally have someone in the chat say, the Eagles ran all over the Packers? Really? I don't consider a 7-point game getting run over. Did you watch the football game? Did you watch the football game? What game did you watch? The Eagles had 500 total yards. They ran for 363 yards for 7.4 yards per carry. You might have to go back to football school. Let's hear from Sean.
All right, let's get right to it. Glad they won the game. Great performance by Jalen Hurts. Great performance by Miles Sanders, the offensive line in the running game. But Jonathan Gannon and Michael Clay both need to go. Let's pack their shit and get them out the door before the sun rises tomorrow morning. This coaching duo will cost this team. Maybe not today, maybe not next week, but at some point, I mean, you just can't have your offense bail you out every week. And to give up 33 to this Packers team with a quarterback who had a busted thumb, probably busted ribs, and a backup quarterback coming in cold off the bench, inexcusable.
Yeah, look, I'm not a big Jonathan Gannon guy. I thought some of the returns put the defense in a bad spot. I don't think Jonathan Gannon had a good game by any means, but to say that the offense bails him out all the time, if you go back to last week, I mean, there was something special brewing with that defense. It allowed the Colts to score 16 points, and that was crucial. Shutting down Jonathan Taylor when everybody thought that Jonathan Taylor was going to run all over you because of what Brian Robinson did, because of what the Houston Texans did, because of what teams tried to do throughout the weeks, but the defense stopped them or still found a way to win. While some teams had some success running the football, maybe is a better way to put it, but Jonathan Taylor was just destroyed. Nothing. Constant punts. Look, I'm not going to sit here and defend Jonathan Gannon. But today, to scream he needs to be gone, I'm focusing more on the offense with this one and how they just controlled it. Like the Eagles controlled this football game. And each week, they're winning. They're 10-1. It might go back to if you're looking for a flawless team, and I'll be the first to admit, Jonathan Gannon can do more with what he has. I know the stats say what they are. A lot of top 10 statistics, and you look at a lot of the categories, and the defense's numbers will wow you, but I don't think the numbers tell the full story. So both can be true here. I've seen him do very good things. I don't think it's his comfort zone. He needs to be forced to do it, and someone has to sort of push him into it. The way I describe it is, when you think about Jonathan Gannon, I use this example with a wedding. Let's say you're at a wedding and you're not a dancer, but your family's on the dance floor, your wife's on the dance floor, she's waving you over, you don't want to go, you're sitting at the table, and then you end up getting your friends push you in, you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you don't want to dance, but you get forced to dance anyway, then you find yourself in the middle of the circle and whatever, you're doing it. It's not as bad as you thought. Jonathan Gannon needs to get the push from the friends to do things that he doesn't necessarily love to do, but when he does it, things go well. Things go better than he expects them to. I don't know. Yeah, the 40-33 win, I'm more disgusted in Michael Clay. I think I know what Gannon is. I figured him out already. I talked a lot today about A.J. Brown. I still don't know this and that. I'm still trying to figure out some things. I have more knowledge on Sirianni at this point. By the way, I loved what he did pregame or before the game about showing all these players highlights in high school and saying, go back to that time. Think about where you were then and how much you enjoyed the game. Think about where you are now and go play inspired like you were when you were in high school. I love that message from Sirianni. I have more knowledge on these guys. I know Gannon. I know his beliefs. There's issues with it, but there's a lot of good things the defense does in a big picture sense, too, at the same time, that has helped this team win 10 games throughout their first 11. They're 10-1. So I'm just put in a very difficult position. I don't believe in the guy. I think there's things that are fraudulent within him and his scheme and his idea. At the same time, there's stuff that works that I just don't like the way that he plays it, but there's still success that he gets based off of that stuff, but he's leaving meat on the bones with what this defense can do. I don't know. They're 10-1. They're 10-1. They just beat down the Packers, and whatever the score said, it wasn't really close. They destroyed the time of possession. They ran so many damn plays. The other team couldn't get stops. They got deadly third down runs. 20-plus yards, 24 yards from Hurts, 28 yards from Hurts, 40-plus yards from Hurts, all on third down, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 2. We got our quarterback. Our quarterback is special. And that's where I'm focusing more on today, right now. That's sort of where my brain's at. All right, everyone. I love you. You're the greatest. We'll be talking a lot this week about this football team. Thank you guys so much. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. It's almost 1 a.m. You're the greatest. I love you. I'll catch you on the next one.